we manage B and C class properties, 1960s to 1980s properties, right? These aren't brand new assets. We want people proud to live in their places. Obviously, we need them to pay their rent. We don't want them to be proud and carry up a bill that's $20,000 that they're never going to pay. But we want people proud and we want them paying their rent. And if we can do that, it should be a successful property.
Welcome back to The Real Grind, the place where we talk real estate and we sip on the best cup of
coffee.
Let's go.
You know it.
Italy, imagine if you are managing over 6,000 units, 55 properties.
That sounds like a lot. That's a lot.
Dude, and if you think about it, 6,000 units, imagine families. It's gotta be at least average 2, sometimes 3, 4. That's like over 12,000 people in.
At least, yeah.
That's really cool. And today the guests, we're gonna talk exactly about that. They are killing in this property management company. But let's get the show started real quick. Let's go.
Waking up to success. Now we're getting it started. This is the real grind. Everything you've been wanting, building an empire, no question. Talking about real estate, investing, making the millions, no stopping. While we sip on gourmet coffee. The real grind. This is the real grind. Let's go.
He's a partner at Fairmont Management, a multifamily property management company, specializes in operations of the communities, investing, relations, and business development. He knows the ins and outs of multifamily properties and have maximum achievements how to increase operating income, knowing the pitfalls when investors look for new acquisitions. We want to welcome on the straight, Brett Luskey. Let's go. My man, thanks for coming, brother. What's up, my man?
Not a whole lot. Managing 12,000 units, we might need a coffee break in a few minutes.
I can imagine, man. I can imagine. Look, we just self-managing our properties now, and it's been crazy. I kind of regret it a little bit, man. But talk to me a little bit before we get to the meet and greet, brother. Talk to me a little bit. How'd you get started on the property management yourself?
Yeah, so Fairmont was founded in 1994 by my current business partner, Mike Kotwitz, and my father-in-law, Mike Grossfeld. 10 years ago, moved to Dallas to be with my wife, bought my father-in-law out, and have been in the property management business since. So it's just been a day-by-day, step-by-step, sentence by sentence learning venture, and doing common sense has led us to some good things.
How many units then and how many units now? Like 6,000, but how many units then?
Yeah, so whenever I came on, Fairmont had about 2,500 units under management, quite a few commercial assets, and just over the course of the past 8-9 years, we've just organically grown working with clients that we really enjoy working with. The success that we've had has led to their success. The success that they've had has led to our success, and it's just been a nice venture to say the least. And we've just kept growing.
That's awesome, man. But let's take a little bit back, brother. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? And talk a little bit about yourself, about your beginnings.
Sure. So grew up in Midland, Texas.
All right.
Out in West Texas, 5 hours from here. It's funny enough called Midland because it's in the middle of Dallas and El Paso. After high school, went to UT Austin, Hook 'em Horns, and we've got a big football game this weekend. And moved to Houston. Actually lived in Israel for a little while after college.
Oh, wow.
Did a volunteer program there for a year. Moved to Houston to be with my buddies and got into the scrap metal industry. So I did that for about 4 years before getting into the property management industry. Scrap metal's funny because we walk around our apartment complexes and you have a couple, and probably similar to what we manage, and you see these guys with huge piles of junk in the back of their trucks.
Yep.
Metal, refrigerators, whatnot. We used to buy those so that they could pay your rent. So now I let them go to the scrap yards and then they pay me rent.
And it's funny. Funny you say that. I just recently installed some cameras at our dumpsters because we're paying a lot of overages. And this camera is actually, as you approach, it rings an alarm and it flashes a light. We communicate, even it flashes to our own tenants, right? Because we're just paying so much overages. And I've been watching them for the past 2 weeks, And there's people that come in and climb in a dumpster, man, and grab those clams. And actually, these older folks, I was looking at that. I was like, man, I didn't know people do that. And and then they go and sell for
Yeah,
big
scrap metal.
scrap metal. So you used to own the scrap metal, or you?
No, I worked for a scrap metal company.
It's a man. The operations there is big, right? How much scrap metal they collect
It's
and have
huge.
the. It's a big operations there too. And what'd you do there?
So I was a buyer. So
Okay.
I bought from big companies down to the guys that were bringing in 5 pounds of cans. So I was everywhere in between.
Wow. And what's the most lucrative things when it's more? I guess more weight.
Yeah, the more weight. Copper is better than aluminum, which is
Yeah.
better than steel. Each one has just a value with each
And-
commodity.
Sure. And what was the Brett? What is the pivotal moment that you went to the property management? Just because you saw the need on you said it was your father-in-law, and
No, I always knew that I wanted to get into real estate.
okay,
Again, I moved to Houston because that's where all of my college buddies were, and
Yeah.
I figured why not go have some fun for a
Sure.
little while.
yeah,
I kept my real
Fair enough.
estate license active and didn't know what I wanted to do. This was back in 08, 09. My parents politely told me that I wasn't living at home, which just one of the best things.
it's a great thing.
And so earned my way doing that in the scrap metal industry, but always knew that real estate was there. Wanted to own, wanted to manage, but didn't quite know what. And then this opportunity came along and jumped at it.
Yeah, and brother, management company is such a complex thing. So when you started with Fairmont, like you felt that compared to now, I feel there's a lot of processes, a lot of the market change. That was when you took over, when you started it.
2015.
Okay, 2015, and a lot of things changed. The market changed right now, and now the you have to be very conservative, right? With a lot of the rises of insurance, taxes up the roof, and cost of labor, cost of everything. So, what do you see a change when a lot of those, especially people that does the syndication, the famous syndication, underwrite for some budget, and now it's totally different.
Yeah, sure. So funny enough, you mentioned the processes and procedures that have grown between 2015 and now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's too much. Take a step back. You put good people at a property, your property's going to do better. You can go buy all the cool gadgets and the whatnots, and you can put them at your property. But if you don't have good people at your property, you're still going to struggle. So sometimes people just get caught up with the shiny object rather than just focusing on what needs to be done at each property. At the same time, right now we are facing challenging times, right? Insurance is higher. A lot of people have floating rate, mortgages, and those are killers, man. I mean, they hurt. And while they might be, booked below the line or whatnot, at the end of the day, it's still cash out of pocket. The most important thing I can say right now, though, is keep putting one foot in front of the other. Keep your head down. That's your business plan. Yes, it might have to change some, but if you're doing something and it's working, keep going. Don't all of a sudden. One of the things that we had that happened was, this was a while ago. We had a client that kept wanting to push residents $1, $2, $3, change parking from $20 to $22, and it's like, you might be making an extra $80 a month,
Mm-hmm.
but you're just pissing everybody off.
Right.
So like, that's not going to do it. Just keep moving one step at a time.
Right. That's a good point, man. Going back to basics, and I one thing that we are learning that all goes hands down on the good hospitality, right? The good customer service, good taking care of it, and I'm relearning that a lot by whatever means the most out of the properties. Who's sitting at the desk?
That's right.
And the whole team.
We view these as investments.
Yeah.
Our residents, these are their homes. Make them proud to live at the community. You want them inviting their families over for Thanksgiving. If you're doing that, then they're happy. They're telling their friends about it. They're telling their parents about it. You're getting the natural retention that way because they're proud to live there, and they're marketing for you. You want people proud to live in your property.
Right. So, Brent, if you have to describe what the success means to you for a property, what does that mean?
Depends on who our client is, right? um,
Sure.
Again, so we manage B and C class properties.
Yes.
That, for those that don't know, that's 1960s to 1980s properties, right? These aren't brand new assets. We want people proud to live in their places. Obviously, we need them to pay their rent. We don't want them to be proud and carry up a bill that's $20,000 that they're never going to pay.
Mm-hmm.
But we want people proud and we want them paying their rent. And if we can do that, it should be a successful property.
100%. I agree with you. One thing that I've seen more often in property management companies is that there's a lot of, to find good people now is a big challenge. And I've seen that a lot. So what is a few hiring that when you're looking to hire good talent, what is things that you guys are looking for?
Yeah, no, so it's extremely difficult to find good talent.
Yeah.
And look, resumes are fine. Interviews are fine. You really don't know how people are going to react until they're managing the property, right? I'm sure you've interviewed a couple people and you thought they were dynamite.
Yeah.
And then they just weren't. Or, you said you managed a 500 unit property and you killed it. And why is our 150 unit property struggling with you on it? And it's tough. One of the biggest things that Fairmont prides ourselves on is we like to operate without an ego. So Neander, if I'm managing your property and I come to you and I say, hey, we've got this great manager, let's hire her, and you agree. Well, if they aren't working out in 3 months, let's make a change. Mm-hmm. We're not going to keep that person on merely for the fact that we hired them. We are going to make a change in the best interest of the property.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it. We're not going to hide it, and let's keep moving forward.
Do you feel that the community of B and C class, they have a very resistant to change, especially of the manager? Ever feel every person that come in and out, there's like, oh, another manager, and then they feel very resistant. Oh, but I talked to that manager, and that manager is to do X, Y, and Z. How do you guys manage that? I mean, because it's something that we can't control, but it's better in the long term to find a good talent. But this is something that I'm scared of changes because of that. You know what I mean? If the tenant's gonna,
yes and no. So the talent's going to take care of itself. So if you put an awesome manager in, the property will turn. It's kind of like the property loses its mom. Right? Like all of a sudden she's not there anymore. So who's taking care of us? Well, all of a sudden, if there's somebody better that's taking care of you, doing what they do. Now, we don't go in and make changes merely to make changes. Mm-hmm. If we take over a property, either from a sell or a management change, we want to give the staff, if they want to stay, the chance to stay with us. If it's a management change and we're taking it over because the other management company wasn't doing the correct thing, mm-hmm. Why? Was it because of the manager? We don't know. Was it because of the sports staff? We don't know. But let's find out for a couple weeks first, because change is tough at your properties. But at the same time, if it's not going to work, let's figure it out. Now, we do have to give credit to, look, a lot of these employees, it's really easy to sit there and say, let's make a change, right? Okay, cool. Are you giving credit to that person coming every day, working Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5:30, dealing with all the residents, right? Yes or no? You should be, right? Yeah. Are they trying their best? Okay. Like, to us, that stuff matters. And can we train what they need to learn in? So those are all focuses that we work on with them.
Yeah. And Brent, what are you seeing as far as, changing subjects to the market now, now in several climates of the market, what do you see now as far as rent growth right now? I feel that rent's kind of stagnant a little bit, population growth in Dallas, and where you see that trend coming for the end of this quarter, for the end of or going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, no, so you're absolutely right. We're very keen on it. What we have done, whether right or wrong, Neander, is we have shifted our focus away from rent growth and more focused on income growth. Okay. And what I mean by that is market rent might be $900. You're paying $850, right? If I keep you at $850, right, my income for the year is higher than if I lose your unit for 2 months trying to get to that $900.
100%.
So while we're always trying to push rent, we're also focused on vacancy, bad debt, other income, things that help the property, and it's cash, man. You want the money coming in, right? Vacant units don't make you money.
100%. And it goes back to the keeping also the good customer service. So you keep your residents, right?
That's right.
Because a lot of people are really in the need of increasing occupancy of their properties, and they run all kinds of specials. And it might sound attractive for somebody to, I know a movie is such a pain in the ass. A lot of people don't want to do it, but you know what I mean? But sometimes like it might sound attractive. It's like, hey man, they're not taking care of my issues here on my property. Oh, they're very, every time I walk in the office, I have a problem. They suck, but there's a property not too close from here. There's running out the specials. It might sound attractive. So I think our key nowadays, it's just to really focus on the basics, what you said earlier.
That's right.
That 100%.
Or offer the resident a concession.
Yeah.
If they sign their renewal by X date, offer them a concession. Give them $200. That's cheaper than turning your units.
Yeah, 100%.
Give them something. Make them feel special. People like to feel special.
All right. Do you like coffee?
Love coffee.
How much of a coffee drinker are you, man? And a scale for 1 to 10, how much of coffee do you like?
So the first thing I do every morning, Neander, is turn on our coffee machine. The second thing I do every day is let the dog out. Third thing I do is get my coffee while the dog's outside. So it's pretty high up there on the priority.
Have you had specialty coffee before?
Specialty coffee, yes.
It's gourmet coffee.
Let's
see
put
what
it
you got.
up,
Because right now it's a coffee time, man, and we're gonna try some good stuff here.
Right. How's it going?
Hey, man.
Doing all right.
Good to see you.
So,
Brett claims
I overheard.
that he's a coffee enthusiast. Let's see.
So when he got here, he came, he checked out the F Monday package. Like, is this the coffee I'm gonna be drinking? I was like, well, it's part of it. And he did tell me he just got a new espresso machine, and looks like they have a nice crowd.
What did you get? Espresso machine? It was like one of those manual espresso?
Man, no,
or-
I'm blanking on the name. It's the one that you press the button and it automatically grinds the machine or the beans.
Nice.
It's pretty slick.
Yeah, it's badass, man. That's cool. Now,
We love coffee nerds in here. So, because I mean, we geek out on this a lot. So the specialty coffee that Neander was talking about, usually will be a coffee that you don't really find at your regular store, right? So if you go to Walmart, if you go to a Costco per se, if you go to a Tum Tum, you're not gonna really find specialty coffee there, for the main reason that specialty coffee will have a roasted on date on the package versus a best by date.
Okay.
So for the interest of the supermarket, they don't want to put something on the shelf that has a life shelf of like 30 days, 40 days. Rather, they would just put best by December. So they're like, oh, I'm in October, still got 2 months, So specialty coffee will come from local farms. That's why F Monday is here to represent the small local farms. Let me give you this one here, because I noticed there's a lot of oil on top. So we're gonna drink this together. So this one is for you. This one
Thank
is
you.
for Neander. So if you look on the top, you're gonna see that it's almost like dirty water,
Sure.
but that's all the oils from the specialty coffee that you want lingering in there. So this one,
Not bad.
yeah. So for pour over, what do you usually drink?
Yeah, just the basic coffee.
Just a basic?
Yeah.
In comparison to that, is that a very different drink, or?
this probably thing is very light in my.
Yeah, no, this one's far superior. I'm just crushing espresso shots every day, so this is just a pour over, so it's a little bit different flavor. Good
So-
stuff though.
But next time you sip on it, let it rest on your mouth for a little bit
Okay.
before you actually swallow it.
It's good stuff, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brett, do you like wine?
Do I like what?
Yeah, wine,
No, more
No?
of a liquor guy.
liquor.
So
Well,
whiskey,
what's your favorite?
Yeah, whiskey, scotch,
Scotch, yeah.
tequila.
So, when you start going up a Scotch, like bears and stuff like that, and coffee is the same thing. I know that we here in the show we talk about it often, but this is like a medium rare steak, like more juicy. A lot of people misconception of having a dark coffee, which you think they're getting more caffeine out of it and whatever, but this is how coffee should be drank, like that. It's almost like a tea, and that's why a lot of the flavors have a lot of flavor to it. So
and you,
good to try, man.
yeah, and for you that you like coffee that much because you make espressos in the morning, it'll be very interesting for you if you get the same coffee, like some coffee that is like a neutral note in there, like some chocolate in a way, but some floral at the same time. Make espresso with that coffee, and then with the same coffee, you make a pour over. And you can see how versatile specialty coffee is, because you'll be like, oh my God, I get all these notes if I do it on a pour over, because there's more time for the coffee to be exposed to the hot water versus espresso is just a punch of water and you get all that information in small dose. So it's pretty neat. That's the thing that I like the most about good coffee like that. So for you at home that are watching this, if you want to check out these amazing coffees that we drink here at the show, fmonday.com or fmondaycoffee on Instagram, and you'll be able to put your hand on some amazing coffee like the ones that Brett, Leander, and I are drinking right now. I want to hear more of your story, but before I go, this is going to be your company in the morning now.
Thank
so
you.
Whenever you're drinking coffee in the morning,
Beautiful.
there's a little coffee, Rio Grind mug in there for you to drink your coffee. I'll take this from you because I want to hear more about your story, about your company and all that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Atala.
If you need more coffee, you know how to find me.
I'll find you.
Alrighty,
Let's go, bro.
let's go.
Thank you.
Welcome to the corporate world, a place you go to every day against your will, with endless meetings. And worst of all, shitty coffee. Introducing Fuck Monday, a specialty coffee for those who want to kickstart the week with a better taste. A reminder to do your own thing or go after what's brewing in your head. Unless you're thinking of reading tarot cards for dogs or other dumb ideas like that. For everyone else, Fuck Monday, your daily dose of attitude.
Brett, what do you have to give advice for people, for syndicators or people that are getting into the buying? We hear all the time, like, oh, now there's a great buying opportunity. So give a few tips of people that are buying or things to look for.
So if you've never bought before, figure out your partnerships. Who do you want to manage with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want to fight with day by day, right? Those, to me, that's the most important issue, man. You can go into it and you can buy a deal, right? People have money these days. They can just go and arguably find a deal, but who's going to help you and who wants to help you? From there, look, the number one thing that we look for, Neander, is whenever somebody sends us an offering memorandum package, I don't really care about that stuff. Number one, I look at the location, where it is. Number two, I don't need the T12. I don't need the rent roll. Give me the delinquency list, and not the delinquency list at the 5th of the month, but I want to see a couple delinquency lists at the previous 25th of the month, right? If you're arguably collecting $200K a month and your delinquency is always at $50K, right? How do you plan on making up that last 25%? Because if you can't tell me, it's probably not a good property. And it just, math just says it doesn't work.
Yeah. And to cure that, it's a big challenge, man. It's almost like a coach inherent to that property, isn't it? That's
right. I mean, look, at some point, if your location's in a rough area and your delinquency is consistently high, bro, you're not going to change it. And it just is what it is, and that's okay, but let the next guy buy it. It's hard to manage multifamily properties. It's really not fun to manage bad multifamily properties, right? You're going to end up eating 90% of your time with the one property you have.
I'm sure a lot of us is guilty of that one ugly child, right?
That's right.
It's it's our property, but at the end of the day, it's like, oh my goodness. And things we learn, right? we have to say this. We are in 5 properties, but we come to this market, this industry, we transfer experiences from other industry. But in the end of the day, like, the market itself teaches you a lot. Owning those assets and learning from management companies and learning with professionals like you that has seen so many, like, dude, when I think about it, and when we talk about 6,000 units, there's so much data. You know what I mean? And of course, the experience counts, but data, the measurable data, and various different top markets, man, that's incredible, man.
It is. And look, each property, just because we manage that many, we view each property individually. If we manage 5 assets for one client, we treat them as 5 different clients.
Yeah.
Because each property is so different. 2 properties that are next door to each other and we have them, they operate very differently, and they have to. And if we're trying to consistently fit everything into a square hole, if it's not going to work. So you want the management company that's going to work and realize that each property has its own individual needs.
Right. It's interesting you said that. Properties does different a lot from each other, man. We try to run properties. There was 1.6 miles away, and it didn't work out.
No.
Try to share staff and that stuff. It's tough.
It's funny how that happens. People just kind of disappear, and it's like,
What
were you doing in 7-Eleven for 30 minutes? Did you bring me a Slurpee?
Yeah. And also accountability too, because
right.
like they leave one, oh, but I told so-and-so, oh no, but I'll finish tomorrow. And then, especially in the maintenance guys, we try to various ways to make that work. It just doesn't work. So it's like, what? We kind of underwrote it in a way that we could make it work. We did 2 options, but at the end of the day, man, it can't, because every property, like you said, their work's so different.
That's right. And so I have a question for you. On average, what do you think a 150 unit property goes for?
As far as price?
Yeah.
It depends on the pocket, but
15 million?
Yeah.
So what gets me in this industry is, so obviously we work within a budget.
Yeah.
But if I need to go over budget by, say, $10,000 annually to hire an awesome manager, it's a $15 million asset, right? Like do it. You know what I'm saying? Don't
go cheap on talent.
Don't go cheap, man. Because then you break it down and you divide the 10,000 by 12, and it's like, all right, cool. So that's 1 extra unit a month that's occupied. It's not a whole lot, right?
Right.
That's a whole lot. You'd rather have 1 unit vacant than 25 units vacant, and if that extra $10,000 a year is going to do it for you, do it.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and it's all about the numbers. Like you said, number there's a line, and when you did this underwriting, this math of like, if I have so many, if a talent is just asking for another $5,000 a year, or even 10 per se, but if you calculate that into your, putting up with a bad manager versus a good manager that will perform and will keep those property occupied, that's no brainer.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And sometimes like we just go to, but the market or whatever, that person gets paid, whatever. But don't go cheap on talent. That's good piece of advice.
Right. Yeah,
man.
no, it's huge. I mean, because that's going to make or break your property more than anything else that you do. Obviously, you have to have a property management company that'll, put money in the bank for you and pay their bills. But really, out of all the processes and procedures that we've ever seen, they're fine.
Yeah.
And they work, don't get me wrong, but they only work as well as your talent carries it out.
Right. And Brett, how you guys do with construction? Is Fairmont also the construction, overseas construction, or just management company?
Yeah, so up until 6 months ago, we had no other interest, no other company interest. We didn't own a plumbing company. We didn't own an electrical company. Didn't own a construction company. Why? Because if you need me to go get bids for your project, you don't need to consistently see Fairmont Plumbing, right? You don't need on your general ledger 70 different invoices from that company. We just didn't feel like that was right. But we will construction manage for our clients. We do charge a nominal fee for that, but that's merely just to cover the time, right? Because there's added time. And I'm not talking about unit turns, Neander, because that's part of leasing, but
Right, of course.
you need us to do
A roofing foundation
that's
issue,
right. That's
you
right.
know,
We'll
like a
charge a
big ticket
nominal fee.
items.
Recently,
Which it should. I'm 100% on that because, man, it's just a project manager alone. Dealing with contractor sucks.
it's tough. It's hard, and it eats your time, and that's the fee.
100%.
We did start a new venture recently because we felt there was a need for more design work.
Yeah.
Design work's hard also, right? Coming up with the color schemes that you think work isn't easy, right? And
Yeah.
you could just throw up something that just is ugly. So we did start a new company called Level Up DTX that does interior and exterior design, anywhere from club room to designing the models to full paint schemes. But that's merely a design company.
Right, just the design. And that's a good idea because I came from a marketing background, and a color would just change so much into
That's right.
influence something, man. You know what I mean? All those big companies, McDonald's or Walmart, all the colors have a purpose behind it that will make sense to influence people or into, and there's no different. And going back to the management side of construction, this is huge, man, especially those value add properties, just holding the contractors accountable, going for the good prices, saving cost. And, unfortunately, a lot of contractors, you can go to Google and just ask for a roofer, just for example, or a plumber. The moment that they see the word commercial, and it just triples the price. And
Sure.
maybe it would be the same amount that, is a simple, but and that what a good management construction, it comes handy too.
Yeah, and look, that's where the advantage of working with us is we've been around for 30 years.
Right.
Just because we don't own a plumbing company, we've got plumbers that we've worked with for
Right.
like all that time
Yeah.
to where we trust them. We know they'll do a good job.
Yeah.
They're not going to screw you on their price. It's a fair price. And quite honestly, man, if you're going to give me a price and you're the plumber, I'm not the plumber. If you tell me it's $5,000, cool, that's the price.
Yeah.
I get it, but we have to trust each other,
Yeah,
and we have a
100%.
lot of those vendors in our.
It's
in our
economies
market.
of scale for them, right? If you definitely want a guy that's going to give them tons of work, right? It was like, I'm going to be loyal to this because,
That's right.
from a contractor standpoint, it's definitely advantageous for you to maintain their relationship, not screw them over. And because I feel a lot of people in this industry, from syndication perspective, they don't know much about construction. You have to trust, like
Sure,
you said,
totally.
you have to trust and who you're going to hire versus leveraging a company that has a track record, established, a sets of people that you guys have done business with.
Well, and the cheapest guy's not always the best, right?
100%.
Just because he's the lowest price. We've learned that one. Our clients have, a lot of them have learned that one as well, and that's not always the best solution.
Yeah. So there's a stereotype out there, Brett, that usually the management companies, sometimes, that can be various things, but usually the management company gets blamed for a lot of things.
It's a fair statement. I totally agree with that.
Right? But what is Fairmont's secret sauce? Because I hear from other friends of mine that use Fairmont and the successful actually, I always hear great things about Fairmont. But what is Fairmont, you guys known for? Like, this is our core values. This is what we do. That
Sure. Well, our core value is we pay our clients to tell other people good things.
That's great. That always works.
No, we look, man. It's a common sense industry, right? You treat people well.
You would think.
You would think, right? You treat people well, from your employees to your residents,
Yeah.
to your clients, right? Things are going to go okay. At the same time, we expect to be treated well also. We don't just, so one of the things that makes Fairmont special is we don't just sit here and take on any property, Neander. Whenever you are interviewing management companies, we are conversely interviewing the client to make sure that we're a fit together.
Right.
We've kind of always viewed the management side of what we do as the marriage of the property. Your broker, your all those, your insurance broker, the broker that's going to sell your properties, they kind of come and go.
Yeah.
You need them when you need them, and they're there, but you aren't dealing with them every day. We're getting in the dirt with you. We're climbing through the mud figure out, and this is from both sides, right? This is from Fairmont side and this is from a client side. Figure out if we're a fit together. Because if we are,
This is a partnership.
it's a partnership, man, and bad stuff's going to happen at these properties. They're old. People are going to fall. You're going to have an insurance claim. It is what it is, right? You deal with 15,000 people, something's going to happen. Figure out not only who can handle it, but who you like talking to. Did something good happen with one of your sports teams? Are you capable of talking about that with each other? Or is it just straight business all the time? Because yeah, that's what we do, and that's how we both make money. But like, life is more than just business, and figure out whether you like each other or not.
Yeah. And I think, there is, from both sides that you mentioned, there is obviously the owners try to make sure there's in the hands of a good property management. But at the same time, man, there's some owners that don't allow the property management to manage.
That's right. So we don't manage for them.
Have you fired a bunch of owners?
We have moved on from
couple.
clients before because, look,
Moved on is a better word. Or let's
moved on to a more politically correct word. I mean, look, you got to allow us to do our job, man. And from an employee perspective, right? If you've got a manager that's sitting there saying, do I call Neander or do I call Fairmont whenever something bad happens?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they don't know what their chain of command is. So there's got to
100%.
be
I'm
a
glad you
chain of
said that.
command. I mean, look, if something really bad happens, you're going to know about it.
Right.
If not, go play golf. Go do something. We'll talk on Tuesday during our weekly call, and we'll update you on everything that you need to know. But if you're in our, the software management company system 15 times a day, stuff's not going to move fast enough for you.
Yeah. On that note of the chain of command, we're under contract, about to get a deal. Of course, we form partnerships with other partners to buy that unit, and we always say it's like when the property management calls, you listen, don't say anything, you write it down. After we're done, the managers hop off, and then we talk about issues.
That's right.
Because I've been through some situations that I had to they're asking questions that we talked about it. And in the perspective of a manager, they get confused. Like, who do I listen to? They all ultimately owners.
That's right.
But it's like, it has to have a leadership. I'm all about that. I'm not from military, but I like about this chain of command. This is how you report to. You come in and do your thing,
Well, and from a client perspective, one of the best things that a client can do is, and you mentioned it earlier, a lot of the properties that we manage are syndications, which means multiple people are coming together to buy a property, right? In the simplest terms, people pool their money. Who from the client side is the one person that we need to talk to if there's something wrong?
Yeah.
Fair?
100%.
There needs to be one person, and that's it. And if there's not that one person available, who's the one right behind them? I don't need to talk to all 20 of y'all every time.
Right.
I need to talk to one person, and then you can let the 20 know. But that's one of the best things that a syndication can do is who's the asset manager? You're the one that's able to talk on the call, right? You're the one that's able to delegate responsibilities to the management company, but have that chain of command going down.
Absolutely. And what is, talking about a little bit more in the software side, do you guys do as a Fairmont one set of software for entire portfolio, or you mix and match? Just one?
No, we use Resman.
Yeah.
It's a well-known property management software in
we
Dallas.
use Resman too.
Yeah, and it just kind of integrates with everything. Fairly easy to use from an accounting to a client base, and we've been very happy with it.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm curious, because interviewing a lot of folks, a lot of different backgrounds of softwares and stuff, and it was funny because whenever we already using Resman, but when we were making our own account, and then we had a demo, and we found out a lot of things that we didn't even know that existed, and I feel like there's definitely technology out there that can be used for advantage, you know what I mean? So what is technology that you guys are using now? And I know we talked about being back to the basics, but there's good technology we can leverage, still being human side. It pisses me off when somebody writes my email that I can totally see that was not you writing it. It was an AI or ChatGPT or whatsoever. But, but for example, I tell you what, if you go to marketing and somebody fill a card, what's the follow-up emails? That all could be automated. And probably on phone calls. So what practices you guys are using technology?
So we have that, and we use at least AI, which is fine. It's an artificial intelligence software, and it does the initial response. I'd say that's what it's good at.
Yeah.
After the initial, it struggles a little bit, right? And part of that is like people just need to be felt and heard.
Right. But like I said, it's initial, and I think the manager could pick up after that, but at least already from that initial can turn into a potential lease or something else.
Look, we have automated, and I'm blanking on the name, and my marketing person's going to be upset with me about this. We have automated a lot of the background checks, which the future resident goes in, puts their information in, and it comes back either with a pass or fail. I feel like that has been one of our, within a couple of days. I don't hate AI. What I dislike is every time you have a demo thinking that we should implement it. Okay. Oh, that's a cool new software that I just saw. Let's do it. That's a cool new software. I just saw it. That's a cool new software. First of all, it's expensive.
Yeah. And
it's not just expensive from a monetary standpoint, but we have to learn that system. Just because you saw it and you thought it was cool doesn't mean that we have automatically mastered it, right? So do you have the one or two systems in place that you really like and that work? And if so, keep them. If one of them stops working, so be it. One of the back to that point, one of the automated things that we have done is are using an automated bill pay software that has worked from a vendor perspective. For a while before we shifted over to it, it was vendors were flipping emails to this person and that person, and invoices to this person and that person, and clients were flipping vendors, clients or invoices this way and that. And it's like, this is the one email that you send it to, and it gets into the system. And
it gets kind of distributed. Yeah, this is what I think about, the AI technology. And to a certain extent, it's very good. It's just like a calculator, right? It can use for some of the tools. It's not bad to use calculator, but you still punch in the numbers.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And then at a property management, you still need to carry that personal interaction. That never replaces that. And I feel I went to a fast food the other day, and Italy went to fast food too, and it was like this robots had to enter in, and it kind of gets annoying a little bit. And if you try to rent an apartment, especially for a B and C kind of a clientele that we have, having that personal interaction, somebody that's cared, that's in the office listening. So it works to a certain extent, but we still need to have that human interaction,
Totally agree with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Bro, we're going to ask some questions here, man. This is it's spilling the beans. We're Brett. Let's go. Low occupancy or high delinquency?
Low occupancy.
I really want to ask why, but hold on. Let's go to the next one. Money orders or online payments?
Only online payments.
Only.
That's a Fairmont policy.
All right. Leaks or termites?
Termites.
90% unit with 90% occupancy or 208 units with 80% occupancy? That's a no-brainer. Who wrote this?
How big is the first property?
90 unit.
Oh, 90 units at 90% or 200, 280? Take the 90%, man, and keep buying more properties.
All right, chiller or individual HVAC?
That one's not a question.
That's not a question, man.
Come on, man. Well, what would you choose, chiller? You look like a chiller guy.
Well, I had 2 chiller properties, and I can't wait to get rid of them.
Told you look like a chiller guy.
I am a chiller guy, because I'm chill. We're chilling on those fucking properties. All right, let's go. Dogs or cats?
Dogs. Did you ever watch the show Cat Dog growing up? Nickelodeon?
No.
Oh, man, watch Cat Dog. Get on this show, watch this one first, and if this is on YouTube, flip over to Cat Dog.
Cat Dog, all right. Is that from the 80s or something?
Early 90s Nickelodeon.
I was in Brazil, man. That's
why I'm telling you about Cat Dog.
All right, 10 new move-ins or 6 renewals?
6 renewals.
Audiobooks or reading aloud?
Reading.
All right. Fairmont or Kendall?
Say that again.
Fairmont or Kendall? Kendall, is that the name of that big property management?
Dude, Fairmont all day, any day.
Let's go, man. Brad, it was amazing, man. Thanks so much for all the insights. How can people get to know about Fairmont and you guys?
Yeah, so I'd say the easiest thing to do is go to our website. That's fairmontmanagement.com. Gives you contact, gives you background into what we do, where we're located, some of the properties that we manage. But that's probably the easiest way. Then from there, you flip me an email and I'll happily respond.
Absolutely. You see this guide and kicking ass. There's going to be a link down below where you guys can check it out, the Fairmont property. Great thing. I have personal friends of mine that uses Fairmont for a long time.
Let's go.
You know, and I appreciated that. That comes with the great recommendations, brother. Thank you so much for being here. So if you tell yourself a piece of advice, man, on camera 3, what would you have to say?
Piece of advice. Should have bet on the Chiefs the past 3 years.
Let's go. Thank you so much for being here, my man.
Thanks, Neander.
Let's go.
And as always, thank you so much for watching the Real Grind podcast, for listening to on the way to work, doing your workout. This is another great episode sponsored by F Monday. If you're looking for a great coffee, the coffees that we drink here, the coffees with our seal of approval, look no further, fmonday.com or F Monday Coffee on Instagram. As you're there, don't forget to give us a like. That's what supports us. That's what gives us visibility so other people can see amazing content like you saw today with Neander and Brett. This is The Real Grind. Give us a follow. We're everywhere. I'll see you on the next episode. This is The Real Grind. Let's go.
Waking up to success. Now we getting it started. This is the real grind. Everything you've been wanting, building an empire, no question. Talking about real estate, investing, making the millions, no stopping. While we sip on, go and make coffee. The real grind. This is the real grind. Let's go.